Don't call me that. Detroit, England, Detroit. And they all know tricky. That's what's good, and they all say tricky. Get the L in the stop. Just not. Yo, Stan, Detroit, Eminem, ready to go? Yeah. My name is, of course, not Shady, right? But this afternoon today in Hong Kong, we went and checked out a limited time movie called Stans. Apparently, it only runs for 4 days globally, right? So, and luckily in Hong Kong, we got to watch it firsthand before the US. Stan, as you know, the song that came out from Eminem back in the year 2000 from his Mathers LP album, right? And what a classic song that was back then. I mean, think about fan obsessive behavior. Think about crazy people trying to chase after M, right? And you think all those times back in the days where he just came out, what, 4 or 5 years back then, right? And the amount of exposure and the amount of excitement when he released his second LP was just motherfucking crazy, man. But anyway, I mean, without spoiling too much about the actual story, it was basically a documentary about a couple of fans they call stans, who are from Paris, from US and other parts of the world, got together to talk about their experience of what fandom means, right? Fan, stan, you understand? You know what I'm saying, right? Now, this is a very, very interesting topic because we all have a fan of something. We are a fan of whether it's a superstar or a rapper and all that, right? Eminem is actually a very interesting phenomenon. When you think about back in the late 1990s, the first song that I ever heard of him was actually from Missy Elliott's one of her songs, right? But let's go back to the movie a little bit, right? It's very interesting that the fans talk about their emotional attachment, or I wouldn't call it attachment, but it's actually their relatedness of how M's lyrics and his songs were able to influence or touch some of those people who were actually either bullied or they were being treated badly when they were a kid, or abusive behaviors from their parents, all sorts of societal issues, right? And being able to channel all that when he made that song, thinking about that time where fame was starting to really catch up with him like a bullet train, right? It was like 2000, bang, a few years after Slim Shady LP, and then he was there, and then it basically blew up overnight, right? So this documentary was, I think it was really well put together, right? But to me, I think the whole meaning of a song that could be so deeply entrenched into a lot of people's mind, and to 20 years on plus, to be able to recapture those moments and how that has actually helped or elevate those who were in trouble and whatnot. I think that was really amazing. How do I say it? I mean, it was an hour-and-a-half movie, and enjoy every single bit of it. You know, at the end of the movie, he will tell you to eat something. So have a think about what that means when he say eat something. Right? The most touching part, well, actually, it was quite emotional actually watching some parts of the movie because of, you know, people were talking about their own traumatized childhood, or like I said before, being bullied by other people, right? But also at the same time, how they found refuge through his music. I think it's amazing to see how people get impacted by things that they can relate to. And this is talking about before social media, right? E2000. Facebook wasn't here yet. Instagram, none of that were around, right? So people were still relying on watching MTV, having album launches. But I think it's the human relationship and the fact that he was able to impact not just people from America, but from globally. What most of the fans appreciated was that he was able to transform all that into something that's positive. You know, obviously, the language he used and, you know, being a rap song and all that, there's always going to be profanity, right? I mean, fuck
But I think that the whole nature of the movie, and it's interesting because when you think about the amount of fans he has globally, millions we're talking about, right? Why did he only want to release this in a 4-day thing? Budget reasons, or he just wanted to test the water? I mean, obviously documentary isn't everyone's favorite cup of tea. This is billed as one of his movies or his documentaries for fans only, right? So, and we were lucky to be able to get the tickets because I think they only show about 5 or 6 sections in Hong Kong in the next 3.5 days now, right? So, and it's a very small-ish, cozy kind of 50-seater little mini theater as well too. So, I think that he did that on purpose as well. Like the small theater builds the whole intimacy of what fandom is about, right? And I think he's a fucking marketing genius, right? I'm sure him and Paul and his crew have thought about all these little elements to tease the best of how they can use this documentary to reach millions of fans around the world without having to go into big theater releases and all that, right? So you just have to go and see it. Am I a super fan? Well, let's talk about that for a minute. In fact, this is talking about 1998. I didn't really think much of his music at the beginning. I think my first real attention, I mean, obviously My Name Is was it, right? And Stan, that actually visually and emotionally all actually connected with me. So I started working around that period as well, so, my early 20s, but his music was quite uplifting, and in fact, it was fucking uplifting, you know what I'm saying? And that's the fun part of it. His music is actually funny. Now, funny can mean many things, especially in today's world, right? But back in my days, I think the way of how he's lyrically insane, and also the fact that he was wordplaying everything that he could. It's funny because over time, and I was just counting, I've ended up buying probably about 14 to 15 of his CDs of all sorts, like from albums to mixtapes to movies and shit. And I'm like, have I become kind of a fan over this whole 21, 2, 3, 4, 5 period as well? And I think I have. There's always controversy around it. Where is the line of him in sharing his personal private story right now? And then when you think about how he's been able to raise his kids without having the spotlight on them, but at the same time being able to carry on to do what he's doing in the last 2 or 3 decades, I think it's pretty crazy. And when you think of the whole microscopic view of listeners, fans, haters, media, mainstream media, scrutiny and everything about his style, his lyrics, his collaborations, his wordplay and everything in between, it can be quite stressful, and he talked about that in the movie a little bit as well too, about his of course when Proof passed away, rest in peace, and also when he was going down the rabbit hole of taking meds and drugs and shit like that, right? So, but and then I think that was also the time around 2009, 2010. I moved from Australia to this part of the world, right? And obviously going through layoffs, job changes, moving countries and cities. So talking about recovery, that was the album around 2010-ish, right? And tracks like Not Afraid, No Love, Love the Way You Lie, and what else are there? Cinderella Man and all that, right? Those were dope tracks to actually help me heal and uplift myself as I hop around countries and shit like that, right? But more importantly, I think it's just that was a time when he also came back to the spotlight after being away for a few years before that as well too, right? So, and that's why it's called recovery. Speaking of Eminem's impact on me, I think it's quite unique and interesting. Some of you might know that I, Live and Die, True Pop, right? That was my North Star when it comes to rap music back in the 90s, When it comes to Eminem, one moment I think, now that I think about it, I didn't realize how much his impact has on me was that the fact that someone showed me Eminem's commercial for Chrysler in Detroit, that caught my attention right away. I'm like, shit, I have to work with that agency, because Eminem has actually done a commercial for Chrysler in Detroit because of these guys. And I'm like, shit, I have to get in. I did in the end, right? So,
This is the motor city.
and then obviously, that was like a decade, or 2012. And when you think about it, and the longevity of Eminem's career is undeniable, right? I think he never runs out of ideas, and I love the fact that he just keeps on writing non-stop. Put related words, unrelated words. But again, I don't want to spoil the movie way too much. I think I talk enough as well too. So if you're a Stan fan, or if you're an Eminem fan, go fucking check out the movie. Go fucking check out the documentary. It's worth it. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of noise coming out in the next couple of days as people get to watch the movie the next 4 days. So until next one, you know what's up. My name is Eat Something. Eat. M tells us to eat something. I don't know. Eat it.